It's because at a job, you're entitled to be paid so you can put food on the table and pay the light bill and whatever else. You're entitled to that money because you put that time in. You sold your time, you sell it every day. You're entitled to that money. It's a form of socialism. It is the biggest form of socialism on planet Earth to have jobs. And I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but I will tell you what it is and you can decide if it's good for you or bad for you. For me, I've decided it's bad for me. I want nothing to do with it. But at a job, you put in hours, your employer is legally held responsible to pay you. There's no wiggle room. There's no room for interpretation. If you put in hours and your employer doesn't pay you for it, then you can take them to court. You will absolutely win. In fact, your employer will probably settle outside of court because it will be far cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So employers are legally obligated to pay you for that work because you're entitled. Socialism, you're entitled. Doesn't matter if you produced any value or not. Now, it might matter for the future of your job. They may fire you, but for the time you already put in, you're entitled. So who needs personal development? And the home, by the way, I bet you never thought of a job under that light before now, have you? What are you doing to develop yourself, and what are you doing to develop other people? Those are two questions that one of my favorites, John C. Maxwell, asked us once, and it stuck with me ever since then. I wrote it down, and I don't even think I needed to, but I did anyway. So I'm going to share with you something about the easiest way to get in some personal growth every single day, because you're probably thinking, I'm so busy. I get all these things. I don't have time to take time out to do personal growth. Are you kidding me? I hear you. Believe me, I hear you. So I'm going to give you a big tip on that right now, and a little further explanation. Just give me a couple of minutes. I think it's going to be worth it. So here it is. You're driving in your car every day, and if you're not driving in your car every day, then just think of something that you're doing every day where maybe you can't really do anything else, but you can pop in a CD or put on your headphones or whatever and take in some personal growth and development, some really great words by an expert by way of their results, not by just, I don't know, whatever accolades they might have won, but actual results that they've gotten in their own lives and maybe helping other people out too. So that's how you know they're a real expert in the real world. And they've got these trainings, and they've got this inspirational stuff, and they've got mindset training and whatever else. Just listen to that stuff on a daily basis, even if it's just 10 minutes a day in your car, or while you're working out, or while you're taking public transportation. It doesn't really matter. You can turn your drive time into Drive Time University. Maybe don't listen to the normal radio station that isn't doing anything to help you improve your life and to help you create a bigger impact on the planet. And maybe you've got a really awesome message of good and of healing that the planet needs because it's dying right now, and you don't know how to perpetuate it more, and you're just frustrated. Grow yourself, develop yourself personally every single day. And you know who rolls their eyes at the very thought of, I don't need personal development? Do you know who does that? I have some friends who are nurses, and they witness people on their deathbed, and they've got these regrets that they never did, and they're full of regret. And these are the people that did not take the time to develop themselves. They rolled their eyes at it. They put it off. Almost everybody, 98% of the population, that's a lot, dies that way, full of regret. 98% out of 100% is either dead or dead broke before the age of 65 years old, depending on the government, friends, and family as the main source of their income. And they've got regret. It sort of goes with that territory usually. So let me share with you something else that goes a little bit deeper. There's certain industry that personal development is really pushed, and rightfully so. And most industries, not so much. And that might be to their liability. But the one industry that really pushes home personal development is the home business industry of entrepreneurs. And the reason why that is, well, let me share with you the reason why it isn't so much pursued with jobs and just about every other area of business, just about every other area, especially with jobs. It's because at a job, you're entitled to be paid so you can put food on the table and pay the light bill and whatever else. You're entitled to that money because you put that time in. You sold your time, you sell it every day. You're entitled to that money. It's a form of socialism. It is the biggest form of socialism on planet Earth to have jobs. And I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but I will tell you what it is, and you can decide if it's good for you or bad for you. For me, I've decided it's bad for me. I want nothing to do with it. But at a job, you put in hours, your employer is legally held responsible to pay you. There's no wiggle room. There's no room for interpretation. If you put in hours and your employer doesn't pay you for it, then you can take them to court. You will absolutely win. In fact, your employer will probably settle outside of court because it will be far cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So employers are legally obligated to pay you for that work because you're entitled. Socialism, you're entitled. Doesn't matter if you produced any value or not. Now, it might matter for the future of your job. They may fire you, but for the time you already put in, you're entitled. So who needs personal development? And the home, by the way, I bet you never thought of a job under that light before, now have you? Now, in a home business entrepreneurial experience where it's an experience of ownership, you're not entitled to anything. Nada. You got the opportunity, but as far as a result, as far as getting paid, as far as creating impact, as far as mobilizing people with a message of good and of healing, you're not entitled to anything. So it goes back to those two questions. What are you doing to develop yourself? What are you doing to develop other people? That's it. The reason it's so heavily pushed in the home business industry, this personal development stuff, is because you're not entitled to be paid anything. You can work 100 hours. You provide no value to anybody, no perceived value to anybody. You don't get paid nothing. You don't move anybody to do anything. You don't change anybody's life. You don't create impact. You don't do any of that. You don't create freedom for yourself or the ability to contribute more and give back more to the world. You just don't. You have to produce a perceived value and change people's lives. Every dollar of your income and every bit of your impact and your contribution is tied to how well you provide perceived values to people. And if you don't personally develop yourself, then you will not provide any perceived value. Oh, you will provide value to your own perception, but nobody else might think so. And if nobody else perceives it, then you're not going to create freedom, contribution, impact. You're not going to be able to give back more to a planet that's dying. You're not going to be able to mobilize people more to perpetuate a message that you have of good and of healing. So I hope I've explained a lot in such a short video. I hope it made a lot of sense. My personal growth is so important. And even if what you have is a job, in my opinion, it's still important. It's so important no matter what you're doing. It's not a business thing, it's a life thing. It's professional life, it's your personal life, it's the relationships that you have with people. So all of those things, it's your emotional maturity. If your blood pressure goes up and down because you believe people make you do things, they make you get angry, they made me get upset, they made me do this or that, then you have a lack of personal development to mature yourself emotionally. And I bring up that one example because it's a common one. And none of us are free from all of this. I'm not free from it. I still need mindset training. Sure, I've achieved financial freedom and independence. I'm an entrepreneur. I've provided perceived value. I've mobilized other people. I've developed myself. I've developed other people. I still need mindset training. I still need to work on myself every day. And so do you. And a lot of people don't recognize it, and it goes back to that 99 or 98% of the population. That's about 49 out of every 50 people is either dead or dead broke, depending on the federal government, friends and family as the main source of their income, and laying on that hospital bed, on their deathbed, full of, oh, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. You don't want to be one of those. Be the one out of the 50. And maybe we can even, bring down that percentage point so that fewer people are on their deathbed with all that regret. I believe that regret is a much bigger struggle than going through the process, that struggle of developing yourself and developing other people. And if all you have is a 10-minute car ride to start working on that every day, sitting in that car anyway, turn off the pop radio and put in some good personal development every day and let those words absorb into your brain it will start to affect the way that you think, and you will bring out more of who you are supposed to be. And that's a good thing. Hope you got value from this. My website, go there. It's called Fire Your Boss. Appropriate, right? FireYourBoss.xyz, not .com, .xyz. FireYourBoss.xyz, and connect with me privately if you'd like. I've also got a 30 Days to Profit training sequence. If you're interested in that, just let me know. I'll shoot you over a video. And if it sounds good, we can talk more about it. If it doesn't sound like the thing for you, then be on that thing that is for you and always be growing yourself at least a little bit every day. What if you improved by just 1/3 of 1% every day consistently? Then 1 year from now, you will be a little bit more than 3.5 times better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not 3.5 times better. If you improved 1% every day, you would be over 3.5 times better, 360% times better, right? But if you just improved a fraction of 1%, like 1/3 of 1%, or a little less than 1/3 of 1% every day, then you'll be literally twice as good, 100% better than you are today. So it seems insignificant, right? Improve just 1/3 of 1%. Can you do that in the course of a day? Yes. The beautiful thing about doing a little bit of something every day is that everybody can do it. That's a personal growth thing. It's a personal growth concept. Probably didn't look at it that way before, did you? But those seemingly insignificant little things, those add up, and then they multiply. So they don't just add up, they multiply. And likewise, if you exercise a daily error in judgment, let's say just a fraction of 1% every day is daily error in judgment, that also adds up and multiplies over time. And a lot of times when things are a complete mess in our lives, we're looking at the event, the catastrophic failure that led to this mess that we're in, and it really wasn't one event. It was just a series of things that you did every day, just minor things that did not seem significant, but over time it's life and death. It adds up and it multiplies. Call it the compound effect. Call it a slight edge. Those of you already reading personal development books, you probably just got the reference right there with those names. It's good stuff. It totally alters your thinking. So you start focusing on your habits instead of your results. If you want to change a result, you can't change the result by focusing on the result. It's the habit, your daily habit, that brought you the result. So if you want to change the result, you focus on those daily habits. And the biggest one of them all is your personal growth. Because you can keep consistent at the activities of whatever it is that you're doing. And if you're just consistently doing something, you keep putting the same input in, you're going to keep getting the same output that comes out. But if you change the input that goes in, you're going to change the output. How do you change the input? It's your personal growth. It's also how you grow other people. That's it. The most valuable piece of real estate on planet Earth is the real estate that's right between your ears. It's the value of your brain. It's the only piece of real estate on planet Earth that you have 100% absolute control over the value of. And this one thing that is the only thing we have any control over the value of is the one that is least paid attention to. Most people are focused on their circumstances, stuff going on outside of their brain, stuff they really have little to no control over, and they wonder why they have nothing to show for their efforts except stress and frustration, and maybe even an early gravesite, which is really sad. Most people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're not anxious to improve themselves. It's not even a thought. And if somebody like me brings up personal development, I don't need that. And then they're on their deathbed with regret and living in dependency on the federal government and friends and family as the main source of their income to do anything. Don't be those people. Personal development is where it's at. Now, my 30 Days to Profit thing, back to that, and the home business arena at large, since we've learned that it's entirely value-driven, opposite of a socialist thing, like a job it's a form of socialism, like it or not, it is. I explained that earlier. You're entitled to be paid. You put that money in. Entitlement, socialism. So we've established that. But an entrepreneurial experience, something of ownership, it's all value-driven. You're entitled to absolutely nothing, but you also have unlimited means to grow and unlimited potential to gain. Where a job, you may be entitled, but you're limited. and living underneath the thumb of somebody else who can tell you what to do. You even need to ask permission to take time off to whatever you want. It's crazy. But an experience of ownership, entrepreneurialism, my 30 Days to Profit training sequence, the home business arena, is really, in reality, it is the ultimate course on personal development, cleverly disguised as a business. That's what it really is. And because the focus is on personal development, develop yourself, develop other people. And it goes back to those 2 questions I posed at the beginning of this video as to how far you're going to go in life, how much freedom you're going to create for yourself and for other people, the impact that you're going to have on the planet, how you're going to perpetuate your message of good and of healing, all these things, all of that is going to be dictated by those 2 questions. And what standing does John C. Maxwell have to say such a thing? Well, remember when I said about listening to experts that are experts by showing it in the real world? That's him. He's grown more leaders, effective leaders who have changed more people's lives than I think anybody else in the world. I don't know how to substantiate that, to be honest with you, but that's a pretty good educated guess. I can't think of anybody else who's had greater impact as far as leadership and developing other people. And because he's developing other people, he's taking his messages and perpetuating all of that. Because the reason why you want to develop other people is because you're only one person. You can only do so much as one person. You are extremely limited to what you can do. When you raise other people up, now suddenly your efforts, they're multiplied. And that's unlimited. That depends on how many people you raise up and how many people they raise up to how many people they raise up. So one person, or even a group of small, like 2 or 3 people, or just one person, we'll go back to that. One person can literally change the entire world. Countries that have gone through revolutions was an idea started and perpetuated by one person, maybe 2 or 3, a small group. But they got other people who got other people who got other people who got other people. They were great communicators. They developed themselves so they could develop other people. If you want to develop other people, you have to develop yourself too. And then you can mobilize people. And then you shatter the glass of your own limitations, because as one person, you're very limited. Everybody is. I don't care how great you are. I don't care how much you develop yourself. If you're only developing yourself, you're extremely limited. But if you're also developing yourself to develop other people, you're unlimited, and your impact could be endless. And you want to give back more to a planet that's dying. How's this? You can give back from a bucket that never runs out. It has no bottom. If you depend on yourself, and there's no leverage, there's no mobilizing, there's no growing other people, you depend on yourself. Extremely limited. So you go from limited to unlimited. It's all from personal development, starting with you. And you can develop other people from there. And your impact, your freedom, your contribution, all that stuff. We could end factory farming and the atrocity committed against billions of farm animals every year. We could end global starvation, which consists of mostly kids, by the way. We could end poverty. We could end human slavery, human trafficking that still exists, including in the United States, which is largely ignored by the media. Children's sex slave operations exist. We can end all of those things if you learn how to develop other people, because you're developing yourself and you get immersed in personal growth and development every day. So it goes way beyond you. With enough personal growth and development, it's no longer about you. It's about the planet and other people. So what a concept that could be, right? And with enough personal growth and development, you can be a very generous person who finally obliterates all negative energy that you have towards making as much money as possible and mobilizing other people to make as much as possible, who are mobilizing other people who are mobilizing other people. Imagine taking the control of the money supply in the world away from the criminals who love making money and polluting the world with it. Imagine if every good, generous person with messages of healing got over themselves, and I say this lovingly, but got over their egos, so that they could get over their negative attachment towards making money. And then they went out there and they got it done. They created all the money. And now we can end all of those aforementioned massive problems that exist in the planet today. All right, I'm done now, I promise, until the next video. So I'm never really done, but with this one, I really am done. Fire Your Boss at XYZ and 30 Days to Profit. If you want to know more about that, to see if it's something that would be a fit for you, just let me know. I'll send you a video I made about it, and you can decide from there and grow yourself. personally and develop other people too. Talk to you guys later. Bye for now.